Have you ever looked at a friend in a bad relationship and wondered, how could they let someone treat them like that? It's a question we ask ourselves when we see seemingly intelligent, capable people stuck in situations that scream toxic. The answer often lies not in weakness but in the very strength of the human brain, its incredible ability to adapt and form bonds, even when those bonds become destructive. By understanding these tactics, we can arm ourselves with the knowledge to identify the warning signs and break free from these toxic patterns. Let's take a journey, if you will, deep into the heart of the human brain. Imagine a complex network of neurons firing, creating pathways, forging connections. Now picture a master manipulator, a skilled emotional hacker, infiltrating this intricate system. They inject their poison, slowly but surely, rewiring those neural pathways, altering the brain's chemistry, and ultimately, its very perception of reality. Dopamine, the feel-good hormone, is released in surges during those fleeting moments of love and affection, creating a powerful, addictive high. By understanding the specific tactics used by manipulators, we can start to recognize the patterns and reclaim our power. Imagine your brain as a vast, intricate network of pathways, a labyrinth of connections that shape your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Now envision a skilled manipulator, a puppet master of the mind, subtly infiltrating this intricate web, their touch so light, so insidious, that you remain blissfully unaware of the strings being attached. Dopamine, the intoxicating neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward, becomes their weapon of choice. This toxic cycle, this push and pull of reward and punishment, is designed to keep you off balance, your brain awash in a confusing mix of dopamine and cortisol. Let's delve deeper into the manipulative tactic of intermittent reinforcement, a powerful tool used to create addiction and maintain control. This technique operates on a simple yet devastatingly effective principle. Unpredictable rewards are far more compelling than consistent ones. In the context of a relationship, intermittent reinforcement takes on a more insidious form. It's the manipulator who showers you with affection one day, only to withdraw and become distant the next, leaving you questioning your worth. This cycle of intermittent reinforcement exploits a fundamental flaw in the human brain, a vulnerability hardwired into our very being. Manipulators are masters of disguise, skilled con artists who understand that to gain control, they must first earn your trust. This is where love bombing comes in, a tactic as seductive as it is insidious. It's the emotional equivalent of a sugar rush, an intoxicating blend of flattery, excessive attention, and grand gestures designed to sweep you off your feet and cloud your judgment. Love bombing triggers a powerful release of dopamine, flooding your brain with feelings of euphoria and attachment. By the time the mask starts to slip, we're already entangled in their web, our brains wired to crave the very person who is slowly poisoning us from within. Just when you think you understand the depths of manipulation, we uncover another layer, another sinister tactic used to tighten the manipulator's grip: trauma bonding. This insidious phenomenon occurs when cycles of abuse and intermittent reinforcement create a powerful, paradoxical attachment between the victim and their abuser. The abuser inflicts pain, leaving the victim feeling vulnerable, frightened, and completely dependent on their abuser for a sense of safety and security. Trauma bonding is a powerful force, often invisible to the outsider looking in. Understanding the manipulative playbook requires recognizing the cyclical pattern they often employ, a toxic three-step dance that keeps victims off balance and emotionally depleted. It begins with the intoxicating stage of idealization, where the manipulator showers their target with love bombing, praise, gifts, and attention. Enter the devaluation stage, a slow, insidious erosion of the victim's self-worth. Finally, when the manipulator has drained the victim of their emotional resources, comes the discard phase. This cycle of idealization, devaluation, and discard can repeat itself multiple times within a relationship, each iteration chipping away at the victim's self-esteem. Let's talk about gaslighting, a particularly insidious form of manipulation that strikes at the very core of your sanity, your perception of reality. This tactic involves a deliberate and systematic attempt to make you question your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Gaslighting thrives in secrecy and isolation. Manipulators often isolate their victims from friends and family, cutting them off from external sources of validation and support. The impact of gaslighting can be devastating, leading to self-doubt, anxiety, depression, and a profound sense of isolation. The final tactic we'll dissect is projection, a defense mechanism manipulators use to avoid taking responsibility for their own flaws and shortcomings. In essence, projection is the art of taking your own negative qualities, your insecurities, your own unacceptable thoughts and feelings, and attributing them to someone else. By shifting the blame, the manipulator deflects attention away from their own flaws and keeps their partner on the defensive. Projection is a powerful tool for creating self-doubt and maintaining control. Section 1. The exploited understanding our vulnerabilities. Now that we've exposed the manipulator's arsenal, let's shift our focus inward. Because these tactics, however cunning, wouldn't be nearly as effective if they didn't exploit fundamental vulnerabilities wired into the human psyche. It's not about blaming the victim. It's about understanding how our innate needs for connection, validation, and security can be weaponized against us. Think about it. We are social creatures hardwired for love and belonging. From the moment we're born, we crave connection like oxygen. This innate need to bond with others is essential for survival, ensuring we receive the care and protection we need to thrive. But this primal drive for connection, this beautiful essential part of the human experience, can also become our Achilles heel. Manipulators, with their keen sense of perception and utter lack of empathy, they can detect these vulnerabilities like heat-seeking missiles. They see our longing for love, our fear of loneliness, our deep-seated need for approval, and they exploit these needs to their advantage. They dangle the promise of connection like a carrot on a stick, using our own vulnerabilities to lure us into their web of control. Understanding our vulnerabilities is not about accepting blame, it's about reclaiming our power. By recognizing these innate needs, by understanding how they can be exploited, we can start to build defenses against manipulation. We can learn to differentiate between genuine connection and the counterfeit affection offered by those who seek to control and diminish us. Let's talk about control, a word often laden with negative connotations. We think of dictators, of authoritarian regimes, of individuals who exert their will over others through force and intimidation. But the need for control, in its most basic form, is not inherently negative. In fact, it's a fundamental human need, rooted in our desire for safety, predictability, and order, in a world that can often feel chaotic and overwhelming. Think about it. We create routines, we set goals, we strive to make sense of the world around us. This desire for order, for a sense of agency in our lives, is what motivates us to learn, to grow, to create structure in a world that can often feel unpredictable. However, like any powerful force, the need for control can become distorted, twisted into something unhealthy, something that ultimately undermines our well-being. And this is where manipulators excel. They prey on our need for control, exploiting our desire for order and predictability to their advantage. They do this by creating chaos, by introducing uncertainty and doubt into our lives. They withhold information, they shift blame, they gaslight and manipulate, keeping us constantly off balance, grasping for answers, desperate to regain a sense of control in a situation that feels increasingly unstable. This manufactured chaos creates a vacuum, a void that the manipulator then fills with their own brand of distorted order. Deep within the human psyche lies a primal fear, a fear as old as time itself, the fear of abandonment. It's a fear rooted in our earliest experiences, a residue of that vulnerable time when our very survival depended on the care and protection of others. Think about a newborn child, completely dependent on their caregivers for nourishment, comfort, and safety. The fear of being abandoned, of being left alone and vulnerable, is not merely an emotional response. It's a primal survival mechanism ensuring that we remain connected to those who can provide for our basic needs. As we grow older, this fear of abandonment doesn't disappear, it simply morphs and evolves, weaving itself into the fabric of our adult relationships. We seek connection, we crave intimacy, and yes, we fear the pain of rejection and abandonment. Manipulators, with their keen understanding of human vulnerabilities, they recognize this primal fear and exploit it ruthlessly. They become masters of push and pull dynamics, creating cycles of intense closeness, followed by periods of withdrawal and emotional unavailability. This hot and cold behavior triggers our deepest fears of abandonment, sending us into a tailspin of anxiety and self-doubt. We question our worth, we blame ourselves for their withdrawal, and we become increasingly desperate to regain their affection, to prove that we are worthy of their love and attention. This desperation, this fear-driven need for validation, is precisely the leverage manipulators need to maintain control. Knowledge is power, and when it comes to the insidious nature of manipulation, recognizing the warning signs early on can be the difference between reclaiming your life and falling deeper into a web of control and despair. But here's the catch: manipulation often unfolds gradually, subtly, like a slow poison seeping into the very fabric of your reality. It's easy to dismiss those red flags, those gut feelings that whisper something's not quite right. So let's shine a light on those warning signs, those subtle shifts in your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that signal your brain might be under attack. Do you find yourself constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to express your true thoughts and feelings for fear of triggering your partner's anger or disapproval? Has your world shrunk, your social circle diminished, leaving you isolated and dependent on this person for validation and connection? Do you question your own sanity, your memory, your perception of reality, often second-guessing yourself and wondering if you're overreacting or being too sensitive? Have you lost your voice, your sense of self, your passions and interests slowly fading as you become consumed by the needs and demands of your partner? If these warning signs resonate, if you see glimmers of your own experience reflected in these patterns, it's crucial to pay attention. This isn't about pointing fingers or placing blame, it's about recognizing the insidious nature of manipulation and taking the first step towards reclaiming your power. Breaking free from the clutches of manipulation is a heroic act of self-love and liberation. It's a journey that demands courage, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to reclaiming your power and rebuilding your life. But remember this, you are not alone. Millions have walked this path before you, emerging from the darkness stronger, wiser, and more empowered than ever before. The first step is often the hardest, acknowledging the reality of your situation. It's time to remove the rose-colored glasses, to face the painful truth that you're in a relationship that's eroding your spirit, diminishing your light. This isn't about placing blame, it's about taking an honest inventory of your experience, recognizing the patterns of manipulation that have kept you trapped. Once you've acknowledged the truth, you can begin to rebuild your support system. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, therapists, support groups, anyone who can offer a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, and unwavering support as you navigate this challenging terrain. Remember, isolation is the manipulator's best friend. By surrounding yourself with a network of love and support, you're effectively cutting off the oxygen supply to their control. Setting boundaries is crucial. This means learning to say no without guilt or fear of reprisal. It means reclaiming your time, your energy, your life, and refusing to compromise your well-being to appease someone else's need for control. Remember, boundaries are not selfish, they are essential for healthy relationships. Healing from the wounds of manipulation is a process, not a destination. It's a journey that requires patience, compassion, and a deep commitment to self-love and restoration. The path to healing begins with rebuilding trust, not just in others, but in yourself. It's about reclaiming your intuition, that inner voice that whispers truths the manipulator tried so hard to silence. Start by acknowledging the impact of the manipulation. Allow yourself to grieve the loss of the relationship, the shattered dreams, the erosion of your self-worth. It's okay to feel angry, hurt, betrayed. These are natural responses to a deeply painful experience. Therapy can be an invaluable tool on this journey. A skilled therapist can provide a safe, supportive space to process your experience, unpack the layers of manipulation, and develop healthy coping mechanisms. They can help you identify the vulnerabilities that made you susceptible to manipulation and empower you with the tools to build stronger, healthier relationships in the future. Remember, healing is not linear. There will be good days and bad days, moments of strength and moments of vulnerability. Be kind to yourself throughout this process, celebrate your victories no matter how small, and allow yourself the grace to stumble along the way. As you heal, you'll begin to rediscover the incredible strength and resilience that reside within you. You'll reconnect with your passions, your values, your authentic self, the very essence the manipulator tried so hard to diminish. This is your journey of transformation. We've journeyed deep into the labyrinth of manipulation, exposing the dark tactics used to hijack brains and fracture hearts. From the subtle neurochemical warfare of intermittent reinforcement to the brazen illusion of love bombing, we've peeled back the layers of deception to reveal the vulnerabilities these emotional predators exploit. But this exploration, as unsettling as it may seem, is not about dwelling in darkness. It's about igniting a collective flame of awareness, a beacon of light that empowers us to recognize and dismantle these toxic patterns. Remember, manipulation thrives in silence. It festers in the shadows of secrecy and shame. By breaking our silence, by sharing our stories and shedding light on these manipulative tactics, we create a powerful antidote to the poison. We validate our own experiences, offering a lifeline to those who still feel trapped in the web of manipulation. This isn't just about romantic relationships. The principles we've uncovered, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the insidious erosion of self-worth, can manifest in families, friendships, workplaces, even within ourselves. By understanding the underlying dynamics, by recognizing the warning signs, we equip ourselves to navigate the complexities of human interaction with greater awareness and discernment. This is a shared journey, a collective awakening to the insidious nature of manipulation. By shining a light on these tactics, by understanding the vulnerabilities they exploit, we empower ourselves and each other to break free from these toxic patterns and create relationships built on a foundation of respect, authenticity, and genuine connection. The journey ahead may feel daunting, but remember this: you are not alone. Trust in your inner strength and resilience. Believe in your capacity to heal and grow. Seek support from friends, family, and therapists. Engage in activities that bring you joy. Step into your power and embrace the journey ahead. The path to healing begins with a single step.